what really do we mean by that? Because a whole lot is happening. Who are these wonder banks or Ponzi schemes different? How is it different from the normal commercial banks? Let's take it from your own perspective, Associate Prof.
Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe I should even use the definition that we have in South Africa, where a Ponzi scheme is defined as any scheme or any investment in quotes that promises, a return that is more than 20% higher than the repo rate. That is the repurchase rate. The repo rate is the benchmark interest rate in South Africa, and it's about 7%. So if you have a scheme that is promising 20% or more of this repo rate, it qualifies as a Ponzi scheme. So generally, wonder banks, Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, whatever names you call them, are schemes that promise outrageous returns on investments. I don't really see them as investments because for something to qualify as an investment, a real asset must be created. But these are not investments. So when people put their monies in these wonder banks, and the wonder banks promise to give them 30% return or more, of course, you could say those are Ponzi schemes. And of course, how does a pyramid scheme operate? The early birds, or those that go in early, are paid their returns and their principal from monies gotten from the later entrants. So whenever that chain breaks down, whenever it becomes increasingly difficult to get new entrants, of course you find the chain breaking down. Let me share an experience I had yesterday with a group of students, a group of postgraduate students. I was delivering a lecture on the capital market, and I talked about the benefits of investing in the capital market, for long-term investments, especially in stocks, in shares. And I asked how many of them, have investments in the capital markets, and a few of them raised their hands. And one of them said, why would he bother to invest in the capital market when, there were far better, options? And I asked, what is his option? And he quickly mentioned these wonder banks. In particular, he mentioned MMM. And I asked them, about 20 of them in the class, I said, how many of you are involved in this MMM? Two of them said they were already doing it. One said that he invested 100,000, and at the end of the month got 230,000. So his colleague now, because he was paid, decided to invest 200,000. So that one is waiting to be paid. And another person said once that person gets paid, that she would also join. So you can see the motivation, and it's something that is spreading, very, very fast. And they talk about the returns without telling them about the risks that are involved in these things. And you also notice that the environment appears to be ripe for it. In countries where these things, have taken root, these are countries that had problems at one time or the other. Look at the case of Russia, for example, where this MMM originated. In 1989, between 89 and 1991, up to 94, Russia had these problems, this crisis. So it was easy for the Mavrodi to start this MMM. In Zimbabwe, in South Africa, the story is the same. So in Nigeria, we're facing a recession, downturn in economic activities. So it is not surprising that these wonder banks, have come up.
So it's not necessarily the economy that is forcing people to do that, Dr. Uche.
Yes, the economy too has to do with it. As I said, if you look at the history of Ponzi schemes, just as somebody mentioned, it's traceable to Charles Ponzi, and Charles Ponzi operated between 1919 and 1920. Remember, that was shortly after the First World War. And then the conditions at that time were so hard that he seized the opportunity, cashed in on the opportunity to get people in Italy. Charles Ponzi was an Italian, but was residing in the US.
In the US.
Yes. So he had what he called international coupons that people could buy in Italy and then sell in the US at a higher price. Okay, so, and that was just for 19, as I said, 19 to 1920, and then it collapsed. Again in 2008, during the financial crisis, we also had the case of Bernard Madoff. Bernard Madoff too was able to operate that because he was the former chairman of NASDAQ. And that thrived, again, given the situation at the time. It collapsed because of the global financial crisis, 2007-2008. If you also take the case of China, this MMM, flourished in China at a time. As we speak, it has been banned in China. In Zimbabwe,
South Africa as well, I understand.
Yes, in South Africa in 2015. It was launched in South Africa in 2015. And today, again, is collapsing because the National Consumer Commission in South Africa identified MMM as a Ponzi scheme. And as a result of that, many bank accounts that were linked to the MMM, were frozen. I mean, in South Africa. Okay. So you can see Zimbabwe, it's collapsed. South Africa, it has collapsed. Just within 1 year, it collapsed in South Africa. The wind now is moving to Nigeria.
So what does that say of Nigeria? Is it just enough to give her releases?
You see, as I said, China took the step of banning MMM. And in South Africa, they are freezing, accounts. Here in Nigeria, you might say given our population, because one report I read said about 500,000 Nigerians have already keyed into it. So the earlier the authorities did something about it, the better. So that our case doesn't become that of Albania. There is a well-documented, literature on these pyramid schemes by the IMF. IMF has a working paper they called, it was a study they did in 1999 on the rise and fall of pyramid schemes in Albania. Albania at the time had a population of 3.5 million people, and nearly 2 million Albanians were involved in one form of wonder bank or the other. Okay. At that time, there were 17 wonder banks, operating successfully, and just within 1 year, they all, collapsed.
Now, Dr. Uche Waleke, you've had all the submissions.
Yeah.
Moving forward, what should we do at this time?
Okay, let me start by saying that I'm aware that the Central Bank of Nigeria and the NDIC have been issuing warnings about these wonder banks and Ponzi schemes. I'm also aware that the Nigerian Stock Exchange and the Securities and Exchange Commission have also been issuing warnings. As a matter of fact, the Securities and Exchange Commission at one time partnered with Nollywood to create a film, a movie on the dangers of investing in wonder banks. It's important we define what a wonder bank is or what a Ponzi scheme is. In our context, I've told you in South Africa, we have a definition. And that's because you can see from the some of the tweaks you had here, some claiming that MMM is not a wonder bank. The other one said that, I talked about pyramid scheme, that MMM is not a pyramid scheme. So it's important these things are, defined. Why are they saying MMM is not a wonder bank? A mutual fund is supposed to get funds, accept deposits. MMM will tell you they don't accept deposits, that there is no lender and there is no debtor. They don't accept deposits. All they do is to match those who are donating with those who are seeking help. You see, whereas financial intermediation, will always require that if you mobilize deposits from the surplus unit, you channel to the deficit unit, and that deficit unit is expected to, invest and then bring in returns. So once there is no real investment, it is not an investment. It is a Ponzi scheme.
And it will crash.
Yes, it is bound to crash.